story of the Lamborghini Miura is not just the story of a car. It is the story of a rebellion, a moment in history when a group of young engineers, barely in their 20s, challenged Ferrari, challenged the rules, and challenged the entire world of automotive engineering. And somehow they won. But to understand how the Miura became the world's first true supercar, we must go back to a time when the idea of a supercar didn't even exist. There were fast cars, yes. There were beautiful cars, absolutely. But nothing like a Miura. This is the story of the machine that changed everything. Ferruccio Lamborghini was not born to make supercars. He made tractors. Heavy, loud, powerful machines used in agriculture. But Ferruccio was a man of ambition. He loved speed, he loved engineering, and above all, he loved proving people wrong, especially one person, Enzo Ferrari. Ferrari, at that time, was the king of fast cars. No one argued with him. His cars dominated tracks, won trophies, and carried an aura of perfection. But Ferruccio bought a Ferrari 250 GT and found problems. Mechanical problems, flaws, weaknesses. When Ferruccio gave feedback directly to Enzo, hoping to help improve the car, Enzo Ferrari famously replied, "Stick to making tractors, that insult," lit a fire inside Ferruccio Lamborghini. He didn't want revenge, he wanted respect. He wanted to show the world what Italian engineering could truly achieve. So Ferruccio created Automobili, Lamborghini, but even he had no idea that a team of young dreamers inside his factory would secretly start creating something far ahead of its time. In the mid-1960s, three young engineers at Lamborghini Paolo Dallara, Paolo Stanzani and Bob Wallace started working after hours on an impossible idea. What if they created a car so advanced it didn't just compete with Ferrari, it rewrote the rulebook? A car with the engine behind the driver, a car inspired by racing prototypes, a car that could sit on the road yet feel like a Le Mans machine. In those days, no one put massive V12 engines behind the driver in road cars. People thought it was unstable, unsafe, and technically impossible. But these young engineers didn't care. They weren't following rules, they were creating their own. They built a chassis, low, light, and unbelievably futuristic. They mounted the 3.9-liter Lamborghini V12 sideways across the car, a radical decision that shocked even experts. This layout created perfect balance, perfect weight distribution, perfect harmony. When Ferruccio Lamborghini saw the chassis, he was shocked. "What is this?" he asked. "A prototype," the engineers said, "just an experiment." Ferruccio could have shut it down, but instead, he smiled. "Finish it," he ordered. And the world's first supercar was officially born. When the Miura first appeared at the 1966 Geneva Motor Show, the world literally stopped. Crowds gathered shoulder to shoulder, people climbed on each other just to get a glimpse. Ferrari engineers nervously walked around it, quietly whispering to each other. Nobody had ever seen something like this. The Miura was impossibly low. Beautiful beyond imagination. It looked like a spaceship. A wild animal, a sculpture on wheels created not by designers but by artists. And yet the most shocking thing was not just how it looked, but how it made people feel. This car didn't whisper luxury. It didn't politely say sports car. No, the Miura roared a new message to the world. This is a supercar. The word became popular because of the Miura. Before the term barely existed, the Miura didn't just create a category, it defined it. Inside, the Miura was something completely different from everything the world had known. You didn't sit in the Miura, you wore it. The cockpit wrapped around the driver like a fighter jet. Every switch, every gauge, every piece of leather was placed with purpose. It didn't feel like luxury. It felt like performance. Life. Speed. The V12 behind the driver wasn't just heard, it was felt. It vibrated through your bones. It echoed through your chest. It reminded you every second that you were controlling something alive. Owners described the Miura not as a machine, but as a wild beast. It demanded respect. It punished mistakes. But when driven right, it was perfection. The Miura wasn't just a car, It was a sensation. Celebrities wanted it. Royal families ordered it. Rock stars bought it instantly. Frank Sinatra famously said, "If you want to be someone, buy a Ferrari. If you are someone, buy a Lamborghini." The Miura became an icon of the 1960s and 70s, an era of freedom, rebellion, and style. It became the poster car of an entire generation before posters even existed. And then, something unexpected happened. The Miura wasn't just fast in a straight line. It could carve corners. Dance on roads. Move with elegance and danger at the same time. Magazines declared it the most beautiful car ever made. Experts called it a masterpiece. Drivers said it was the greatest thrill of their lives. But the Miura was more than a thrill. It was a revolution. What makes the Miura so special, even today, is that it was born from passion, not strategy. It was created by young minds who didn't ask permission. It was approved by a founder who believed in ambition. It was designed by a stylist who wasn't afraid to break every rule, and the result still stands unmatched. Many say the Miura is the most beautiful car ever created. Some say it started the supercar industry. Others say it was the turning point that forced Ferrari to rethink everything. In all of them are right. The Miura also introduced something emotional, the idea that a supercar is not just about speed, but about drama. When its iconic headlights, those eyelashes, gazed forward, the Miura looked alive. When the engine howled, people stopped walking. When the doors lifted slightly upward, rumors began that they resembled bullhorns. Nothing about the Miura was accidental. Everything was art. And art never grows old. Even today, decades later, car collectors treat the Miura like treasure. Prices have reached millions. Auctions stop when a Miura enters the room. People who hear it start up for the first time say the sound feels like touching another era. An era when engineering was pure, when design was bold, when risk was beauty. The Miura reminds us of a time when humans, not computers, shaped legends. It is a reminder of what passion can build. So what makes the Lamborghini Miura the world's first true supercar? It wasn't just the mid-engine layout. It wasn't just the V12. It wasn't just the beauty. It was the combination of all three, a balance of art, engineering, speed, danger, and dream. Supercars today, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, McLarens, Bugattis all carry DNA from one ancestor, the Miura. And as the story ends, we understand something deeper. The Miura was not created to break records. It was created to break expectations. To prove what's possible when talent meets courage, when young engineers follow imagination instead of protocol. When a man insulted by Ferrari builds a legacy that still lives today. The Lamborghini Miura is not just a car that changed history. It is history. And now, dear viewer, if you felt this journey, if the story inspired you, if the legend of the Miura touched your love for cars, then make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another automotive story like this one. Your support helps keep this storytelling alive. This is the legend of the Lamborghini Miura, the world's first supercar, and some legends never fade.